Good morning, everyone. Student life is a very interesting phase. On one hand, we are told these are the best years of your life. On the other hand, we are thinking, why do I feel stressed all the time then? As students, we walk around with dreams in one hand, big dreams, beautiful dreams, and anxiety in the other, fear of failure, comparison, expectations, uncertainty. And the problem is not that we have dreams. The problem is that no one teaches us how to hold anxiety gently while chasing those dreams. Today, I want to share some lessons that can help every student balance ambition and peace. Student life is often painted as a straight road: study hard, achieve your dreams, settle in life. But the reality is very different. Dreams enter a student's heart very early. Sometimes inspired by parents, sometimes by teachers, sometimes by a single line someone said casually. And slowly those dreams become heavy. Not because dreaming is wrong, but because somewhere along the way, students are made to believe that dreams must be achieved by a certain age, a certain year, or within a fixed timeline. By 22, I should have a job. By 25, I should be successful. Nobody asks whether the mind is ready, whether the heart is healthy, or whether the person is growing. Dreams are beautiful, but the moment we turn them into deadlines, they stop inspiring us and start frightening us. What was once motivation quietly transforms into pressure, and pressure slowly becomes anxiety. Many students wake up every day with a mental clock ticking inside their head. Even before they brush their teeth, the thought arrives, time is running out. They study not with curiosity but with fear. Fear of lagging behind, fear of disappointing parents, fear of becoming that relative people talk about in family gatherings. And when fear becomes the fuel, learning loses its joy. Imagine driving a car with your eyes fixed only on the speedometer, never looking at the road. You might go fast, but you will be anxious every second. Dreams are supposed to give direction, like a compass, not create panic like a stopwatch. Direction helps you move forward calmly. Deadlines make you feel like you are constantly late, even when you are progressing. I once met a student who said, with complete seriousness, if I don't clear this exam this year, my life is finished. I looked at him and asked, did your life start with this exam? He was silent. We forget that life existed before our biggest goal. It will exist after it too. Exams, careers, achievements, they are chapters, not the entire book. But when students zoom in so much on one chapter, they forget the story is long. A seed does not panic because it hasn't become a tree in one season. Growth takes time, and nature has never apologized for that. Only humans feel guilty for growing slowly. When did progress become a crime? The problem is not ambition. Ambition is healthy. The problem is attaching your self-worth to speed. When a student thinks, if I achieve late, it means I am less capable, anxiety is guaranteed. But life does not reward haste. It rewards consistency. Some people bloom early, some bloom later, and some bloom after surviving storms that others never had to face. Timing is not talent. Speed is not success. Yet students measure themselves with the wrong ruler. They compare their behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel and conclude they are failing. Dreams were meant to lift us up, but unrealistic timelines pull us down. Think of dreams like Google Maps. It shows you where you want to go, but it keeps recalculating the route. If there's traffic, it doesn't scream at you, it simply adjusts. But students act as if one wrong turn means the journey is over. I took a drop here, I changed my stream, I failed once, and immediately shame enters. But what if that detour is saving you from a bigger accident? What if that delay is giving you skills, maturity, or clarity you didn't have before? Life often protects us in ways we don't understand immediately. Anxiety comes when we resist that protection and insist that life must follow our plan exactly. When dreams are tied to deadlines, rest feels like guilt. Students feel ashamed to take a break, to enjoy a moment, to breathe. Even happiness feels borrowed. I'll be happy after success, they say. But happiness postponed for too long starts disappearing. Dreams should energize you, not exhaust you. They should make you curious, not constantly afraid. When you walk with patience, you notice lessons, mentors, opportunities. things anxiety makes invisible. A calm mind learns faster than a fearful one. A peaceful heart lasts longer than a stressed one. So remember this deeply. Your dream is not asking you to suffer to prove your worth. It is asking you to grow into the person capable of living it well. Let your dream give you direction in the morning, not fear at night. Work sincerely today, but don't emotionally punish yourself for not reaching tomorrow yet. Life is not late. You are not behind. You're exactly where learning is happening. And learning, even when slow, is never a waste. Comparison quietly enters a student's life very early. It starts innocently. Marks on a report card, ranks on a notice board, relatives asking questions that begin with "what about you?" Slowly, comparison stops being external and becomes internal. A student may be studying sincerely, improving steadily, yet one look at someone else's success is enough to undo all that confidence. Anxiety does not come from lack of effort, it comes from measuring effort with someone else's scale. The mind stops asking, "Am I growing?" and starts asking, "Am I better than them?" And that question never brings peace, because there will always be someone ahead in something. Competition can be healthy when it pushes you to do your best. Comparison is unhealthy because it convinces you that your best is not enough unless it beats someone else's. Students forget that life is not an exam hall where everyone is attempting the same paper. Some students are fighting financial pressure, some are managing family responsibilities, some are battling self-doubt, and some are simply trying to understand who they are. Yet all of them are expected to run at the same speed. When we ignore context and only compare outcomes, we become unfair judges of our own journey. A student once said, "My friend studies less but scores more. It makes me feel useless." I asked, "Do you know what that friend sacrifices? Do you know what strengths you have that they don't?" Silence followed. Comparison hides complexity. It simplifies life into numbers and rankings and forgets that humans are layered beings. A fish feels like a failure when compared to a monkey climbing a tree, not because the fish lacks ability, but because the comparison itself is flawed. Social media makes comparison louder. You see success without seeing struggle, smiles without sleepless nights, achievements without anxiety attacks. Students scroll through curated lives and assume everyone else is moving forward smoothly while they alone are stuck. But most people are confused silently. Growth happens underground before it shows above the surface. The seed doesn't announce its progress, and neither should you doubt yours just because it is quiet. Your journey is custom made. It is not a template. The moment you respect that, anxiety starts loosening its grip. When you compare less, you observe more. You learn what works for you, at your pace, in your circumstances. Life becomes less about racing and more about building, and building takes patience. Instead of asking, "Why am I behind?" ask, "What am I learning?" Because learning compounds. Confidence built slowly lasts longer than confidence borrowed from comparison. And peace grows when you stop trying to live someone else's timeline. Failure is one of the most misunderstood experiences in student life. It is treated like a verdict instead of a message. One failure and labels arrive quickly: average, not serious, wasted potential. Students don't fear failure itself, they fear the judgment attached to it. They fear disappointing parents, teachers, and sometimes even their younger self. But failure was never meant to define you. It was meant to refine you. Think about how we learn anything for the first time. A child falls dozens of times before walking. Nobody calls it failure, we call it learning. But as students grow older, mistakes stop being seen as steps and start being seen as stains. This shift creates anxiety. Students begin to play safe. They avoid trying new things. They fear taking risks. And slowly they stop growing. Failure is feedback. It tells you what didn't work, not who you are. But students internalize outcomes as identity. I failed becomes I am a failure. That single sentence does more damage than the failure itself. Because once identity is attacked, motivation collapses. But if you separate self-worth from results, resilience is born. Every successful person you admire has failed, not once, but repeatedly. The difference is not intelligence or luck, it is interpretation. Some see failure as a wall, Others see it as a signboard saying, try a different route. When students learn to reflect instead of regret, failure transforms into wisdom. Fear of failure creates paralysis. Students overthink, procrastinate, and doubt every decision. But failure avoided is growth delayed. The safest life is often the smallest one. And students were never meant to live small. They were meant to explore, experiment, and evolve. When you fail, pause and ask, what did this teach me? Where can I improve? What part of me grew stronger? Answers to these questions build maturity. Avoiding them builds anxiety. Failure faced with honesty becomes courage. Remember, a full stop ends a sentence. Failure is a comma. The story continues if you allow it to. Students often believe their value is directly proportional to their productivity. The busier they are, the more important they feel. Rest is seen as laziness, breaks as weakness, and sleep as something to be sacrificed. But a tired mind cannot think clearly, and a drained heart cannot dream boldly. Mental health is not a luxury, it is the foundation. Many students say, I'll take care of myself after success. But success without peace feels empty. You reach a goal only to realize you are too exhausted to enjoy it. Anxiety becomes chronic because the mind never gets recovery time. Just like a phone battery, humans need charging, not guilt. Burnout doesn't happen suddenly. It builds quietly. Loss of focus, irritability, lack of motivation. Students ignore these signs, calling them normal stress. But stress unmanaged turns into anxiety. And anxiety untreated turns into exhaustion. Taking care of mental health is not quitting, it is sustaining. Asking for help is seen as weakness in student culture. But strength is knowing when you cannot do everything alone. Talking to a friend, a teacher, a counselor, these are acts of responsibility, not defeat. A healthy mind asks for support before it breaks. Balance does not mean doing less, it means doing what matters with clarity. When mental health is protected, learning improves, creativity increases, confidence stabilizes. Peace becomes possible even during pressure. Your resume will list your achievements, but your mind will carry your experiences. Protect it, nourish it, respect it, because no degree is worth losing yourself. Success achieved with well-being lasts longer than success achieved at the cost of it. And a peaceful student grows into a fulfilled human being. Student life is not about proving your worth every day. It is about discovering it. Yes, hold your dreams tightly, but hold your anxiety softly. Because dreams need effort, but anxiety needs understanding. You are allowed to be ambitious and human, focused and tired, strong and learning. Remember this. You don't have to have everything figured out to move forward. You just need the courage to take the next step. Thank you, and be kind to yourself. You're doing better than you think.